Hey everybody, Dave Chudy for Wrestling Showcase, and this week we're going to cover none other than Johnny Gargano. I wasn't originally going to do a Johnny Gargano episode. I was going to do it more as like a developmental pieces because I have a lot of stuff that wasn't worn by him and that was used in his character. And you'll understand why I say that a little bit later. But then I decided, you know what? Johnny Gargano has some of the most unique wrestling gear and some of my favorite wrestling gear out there. Now let's do a whole episode on him. I'm going to show you the pieces I have, and then we're going to show some photos of the gear that he wore and just have a little discussion on it and just show off some of the cool attires he had. So stay tuned for Johnny Gargano.
Welcome to the Wrestling Showcase, hosted by David Chudy.
So the piece next to me was supposed to be worn by Johnny Gargano during his DIY with Tommaso Ciampa. This was made for the 2025 Royal Rumble, where they fought the Motor City Machine Guns and at best the 2 out of 3 falls. This jacket was made to replicate Shawn Michaels' Royal Rumble gear. This is when the DIY tag team was kind of imitating Triple H, where Ciampa wore the leather jackets and kind of had the Triple H look. Johnny Gargano wore the Shawn Michaels. The final rendition of this jacket did not have the sleeve. So that's where this differs. This one was made for him, but he never wore it, so I ended up acquiring it. The one that he ended up wearing to the ring is the same exact model design type look, except it's a vest. And that's more so what Shawn Michaels used to wear back in the day and a little bit towards his later on his career instead of the one sleevers. But this was a unique piece. It's the classic Johnny Gargano smiley face logo on the back. Johnny has some of the most unique wrestling gear, and I'm a big Disney fan. You might have seen some of my Disney shirts that I wear on these episodes. So my favorite gear from Johnny Gargano would probably be his Nightmare Before Christmas Jack Skellington gear, or maybe even his Bluey gear because my kids really like Bluey. But that's some of my favorite gear. I know Matt Cardona wears kind of some of the unique pop culture stuff too, but this one was very special to me, and I jumped at the opportunity to buy it because even though it wasn't worn in the ring, it's a nice developmental piece that goes into like some of the artistry behind the wrestling gear. But it's a cool piece from Johnny Gargano. It ties to Shawn Michaels. It ties to the Royal Rumble. And a unique piece to own. So I hope you enjoy. While we're talking Johnny Gargano, I want to show you a piece that was not worn by him, but that was either an extra piece or used in the development of Johnny Gargano's Mandalorian gear. I love the pop culture tie-ins. I love that Johnny Gargano tries to cover a lot of different eras. This was a shoulder pad worn, or I shouldn't say worn, a shoulder pad used in the development of the Mandalorian gear that eventually was worn by him. 2 other photos that I'm going to show you. One was worn by Johnny Gargano, and I believe it was the Iron Man W. I don't have the actual piece. It's buried away in storage, but I just wanted, because I don't know when we're going to talk about Johnny Gargano again, I just wanted to show the developmental piece. I have 2 of them. One of them is clear, and then one of them has, it looks like black marker, black banding around it that was used to make the Iron Man piece. And then the other piece, because I don't have any gear from Candice LeRae, I believe this was her Wonder Woman tie-in. I could be completely wrong at what she was going on, but was worn at NXT Stand and Deliver. I believe I acquired this in 2001, so I don't know when that pay-per-view was that she wore it, but you can see from the photo, it's her in it. Again, this might be a developmental piece or an extra that was worn. I don't really have much backstory to it, but it was a Candice LeRae piece. I'm going to guess because of the bending in it that she either tried it on or maybe the designer tried it on beforehand. But either way, cool piece of developmental gear. I love the whole process that goes into it. I'm not a fashion guy, but I like the attires because without these fancy attires, they wouldn't have the fancy matches. Everything wouldn't stand out. It would just be bland, black trunks. So a lot of thought process goes into this, and I find it incredibly awesome that the WWE can get away with some of these crossovers without getting hit with cease and desist, because I've heard rumors that they've done that before with the Buzz Lightyear gear, telling, I think it was either Gargano or maybe it was Zack Ryder or Matt Cardona, that he couldn't use it on TV. Whatever, who cares about that? Cool gear, cool pieces. Main Event Gear makes a lot of this stuff that I'm showing you today. Check them out on Facebook, like them, follow them, subscribe them. Awesome pieces, awesome guys over there. Drop them a message, say hi. They're very nice, but I hope you enjoy. So for the Collectors Club, we're going to throw up 2 pieces of Johnny Gargano gear that Ryan Torgy owns. He also runs a Facebook group, a very popular Facebook group, called the Wrestling Memorabilia Club. The 2 pieces that he has are from Johnny Gargano, pre-NXT, pre-WWE, on the Indies. And you can see him here up on the screen. I believe he does or did have them for sale. I could check with him if anybody's interested in buying them. But I did get permission for him to use these photos. It just shows a good transition piece. As we've already covered his mainstream time frame, let's cover some of his indies. So here are 2 pieces from him. One you can see is more as what he wears today with the smiley face and the trunks. The other one's a long pair of pants that he really doesn't wear anymore. So just a nice little throwback to what he used to wear on the indies. So we've already shown off the gear we physically have in hand, but what I want to show you, part of like a collector's corner, designer area, whatever you want to call it, are some of my favorite Johnny Gargano pieces that I think need to be highlighted because he is one of the most innovative and unique superstars that ties in pop culture along with Matt Cardona. But this is the Johnny Gargano episode, so let's go over some of my favorite gear. In the comments, put what yours are. First one I'm going to show off is his Iron Man gear. He wore this at a pay-per-view for NXT, and I think it's one of the coolest pieces just in the design elements that it, again, ties into the pop culture. It had lighting elements. It was a nice poppy type attire. Another one I think definitely needs to be highlighted is whenever he does the crossover, or did the crossover with Ciampa for DX and Shawn Michaels. You can see on the screen here, this is the DX attire that he wore. It was a throwback to Shawn Michaels during that period. And then the next one I'm going to show is a throwback to the Royal Rumble gear that Shawn Michaels wore. That was one of my favorite Shawn Michaels gear. And I would guess because Gargano used it, it might be his favorite also, but I don't know. Another cool tie-in is the Venom gear that you see now. Although it's very basic, it is a throwback or a throw-off to the Marvel Universe, which I'm a fan of, so I do like it. The next one, which is probably my second most favorite, is the Bluey tie-in. Even though it's very basic and it's more just the color scheme, my kids love Bluey, and if you're an adult and you're a parent and you've sat down and watched Bluey, you've probably enjoyed it more than your kids did. It's just a really good show, so I really like that. Johnny did that as a throwback or throw out to his kids. And then my number 1 favorite gear that him, and I'll even throw Candace a bone in this one, is the Jack Skellington and Sally Nightmare Before Christmas. You can see those 2 on the screen now. I think that's my number 1 gear for Johnny Gargano. I could see now that he's up on the main roster, how, you know, Marvel and Disney and some of these pop culture companies might not want their stuff out there without getting paid fees. So I'm going to guess we're going to see less and less of these direct tie-ins where you can look at that and say, that's Jack Skellington and that's Sally. You might see some subtle mixes in there that, you know, you can allude to it. But I think we're done seeing things like this. But I think this is really cool for Johnny Gargano. And I hope you enjoyed the episode. Thanks for watching.